be live,
Sweet deal.
or at least recording. And so, what we wanted to talk about today is something that I've really used a lot lately. And when I say lately, I mean like in the past like 2 or 3 years. And I think I've kind of always been this way, but it's just like educating myself on anything and everything that even like interests me just a little bit.
What about stuff that doesn't interest you?
Sometimes, and it's actually kind of funny because I had a conversation like with dad about it on the way home from work the other day.
Mm-hmm.
We're just chatting about it all, but that's kind of what we're talking about today. We're talking about self-education, like going to get information yourself, and I'm not against like listening to experts or like letting certain people handle things, or if you have an issue like I think we're talking me and Scotty talked about it, I think on the last live stream we did.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, just go get my oil changed. And I was like, yeah, I know, but shouldn't you at least know how to do your own oil? And he's like, nah, I'll just let them worry about it.
Right.
To whereas like for me personally, I'm the type of person like if I don't know how to do it, like I'll learn how to do it, go and do it, and then like if it's easy enough or I have enough time, like I'll do it myself. Or if I like I'll do it once and be like, okay, yeah, like I can let someone else do this. This is stupid. So but self-education, just like I feel like everyone could benefit from it a little bit more.
Well, knowledge is power,
Yeah.
and I kind of like the idea of that. But I would probably be along the lines of things that I enjoy listening to or reading. I don't know. I feel like I try and be a broad individual when it comes to whatever the topic may be. It could be anything like, crypto or like what you said were cars or sports or something. I mean, you can't know anything or all of the things, but
My interests have definitely like changed and like moved around.
yeah,
And like the
I think
stuff
mine
that
too.
I like way dive into are way more different than they used to be.
I think years ago, you and I kind of were chatting a little bit beforehand, kind of get warmed up. We were talking about high school, and from high school to now, I mean, the spectrum has been way more broad. I mean, tons of stuff. So, and I think, especially with my job now, just driving around and stuff like that, you get really bored about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So every now and then you need something new to listen to, and even like Reddit. Reddit's kind of been that might not quite be learning. That might be kind of stories or whatever, but
It's information.
yeah, true. Yeah, very true.
I I really I really love. Hold on, let me get this out to everybody.
What do we got going on here?
I'm just shipping out the live stream to everybody.
Oh yeah.
What were you saying? Sometimes Reddit stories and they're not like exactly educational, but
Right.
so my thing is I so real quick, we'll just kind of like back up a little bit.
No.
I was never like one of those super smart kids growing up. Like maybe
You could hold your own though. I mean,
Maybe-
you always had decent grades and stuff like that.
yeah, maybe like in math, and I guess I really never applied myself either.
Well, see, I didn't even know what I was good at. I had no idea.
Did you ever take any of the smart classes?
Elementary school, I think they wanted me to get, it's called challenge. They wanted me to do that
Yeah, but were you ever a terrific kid?
every year.
I never got one of those.
Yeah, I know, but we're talking about challenge here or whatever. The AP classes or no, what were they? College credits.
There's the honor classes,
Honors,
and then the AP.
I didn't take any of those. No.
I always did, because I was told it was good for you. It was good for your college resume.
I don't know. I don't think I cared in high school. I didn't really care. I think I kept a 3.0 GPA.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to college. I didn't know what to go for.
Just
That's
so
the thing.
okay, so there's a couple different avenues that I want to go down with this. For one, I want to talk about just like my own little thing on like how my mindset kind of changed as far as like
Yeah.
education and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like even just teaching myself stuff. But then also, shit, I just had it on my head and I can't remember it. But like that whole thing, but then also like the way people think about education, like when they're younger, and like the whole, okay, I got it now. The whole deal with like learning stuff that you like. You know what I
Right.
mean? And being able to like helping kids or younger people or young adults even like find stuff that they're really into that they can like put time and effort into. You know what I mean? Because like in school, it's like, okay, go home and study for 2 hours on this like, William Shakespeare. And some kid who might be into Shakespeare might be like, oh man, this is so much fun. I want to go home and just like read through all this.
I mean, yeah, what is that though? One kid out of the whole
Yeah,
30,
yeah,
30 kids in the class or something?
exactly. And then all the kids nowadays, like, not all the kids nowadays, but a lot of them, it's like,
I don't know. I think kids are losing interest in
yeah,
school real fast.
and there's no way of like making it interesting and like like
No, I think there is.
no, like the teachers, well, they're not doing anything to make it interesting.
Yeah, I think the school board of education or whatever it is, I think they're doing a terrible job. They're losing it.
Yeah.
It's been the same stuff since how long?
Oh, since forever. But even like so my own little like pathway journey type thing, it all comes down for me to being like super busy all the time and never having enough time. And there'd be like these, oh, I got another really good thing for you. So I want to I want to ask you this because I was thinking about this the other day. What's one of the next best things? Okay, let's say you want to go buy something, right? What's like the next best thing to do if you can't go and buy it right away?
Research it.
Yeah, but what in particular?
YouTube videos?
Yeah. So like you're like looking at like whatever, a new hockey stick or something. Like, man, I really want to go and buy that. So you're like, oh, I'll go watch some videos on that thing. See some people review it first.
Yeah.
That's like always the one of like, my go-to things. Like if I ever want something, I'll go watch like some videos on it. But no, like for me, I remember specifically having zero time and I was working and going to school and I had to drive, like commute like an hour to work and an hour to school and then an hour home. And I remember I started off listening to like the radio, listening to music, and it got really, really annoying because they just freaking play commercials all the time. So then I would like switch it up with like talk radio.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
And I hated being in that like I was going to work, which I hated at the time, or I was going to school, which I hated at the time, college.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to be in this freaking like amped up, pumped up mood going into this. Like I want to go in like calm. And it's so funny because I've actually talked to Mackenzie about this. Back when Dad wasn't at work when he's on vacation, I was driving to work every morning. Mackenzie would call me, so we'd chat on our way to work in the morning. And she'd be like, "Okay, I'm 10 minutes away from work. I gotta hang up." And I would like pull up to the job and like sit in the truck for 10 minutes if I could.
That's what I do. I do the same thing.
And like chat with her, but she's like, "No, I got to play my pump up music before I get to work." And I'm like, "Huh? Like why?" She goes, "I need to get amped up for the day." And I'm like, "How do you do that?" Like that's like okay to me like getting pumped up listening to music in the morning is the equivalent of having like chicken alfredo for breakfast. That's like like it doesn't go together for me.
I don't know. Maybe not the start of the start of, are you talking about the mornings strictly? Okay, yeah, then I'm the same way. I can't do it's like too much. It's too much coming in.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying now. Yeah, I need something subtle.
Yeah.
You kind of ramp up.
Yeah,
into the day.
That's how I feel.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like I like the calmness in the morning. I like the quiet. Like there's not a lot of cars.
I'm a clear thinker in the morning.
Me too. That's how I am.
Like, and that's actually when I retain the most information.
Really?
Always in the morning. Always in the morning. I think that's why I'm a morning person.
Have like a calm mind.
Yeah, yeah. Like sermons or something in the morning. It's when I do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because like peaceful.
Yeah.
and you can just relax, listen.
Breathe.
Yeah, breathe.
You
Yeah.
don't have that you don't have that holy shit I need to get work done today feeling yet because you really haven't started.
Yeah, that comes at like noontime.
Yeah,
when I
when you're
realize
like, crap, if I don't
Yeah.
hurry up,
Yeah.
I'm not going home until
Then the
whatever
music,
time.
then the music might come on for
Yeah.
a little bit, and then that gas pedal goes like this.
Yeah. So for me, like back when I was like driving around everywhere and like doing all this stuff, I would I wanted to like learn things. I can't remember even what like
Because you were interested, or that's just the avenue you wanted to take?
no, I think I had like a playlist of music and I listened to that playlist like over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I was so sick of all the songs. Like I was just
Yeah.
I was like, and then the thing, what would happen? I know everyone hates this person, but I am this person. I find a new song, and I listen to it 15 times in a row, and I just will listen. I will literally listen to the song until I hate it, and then I won't listen to it again for like months.
Yeah.
Like I am that person. I know nobody likes that person because I'll just have a song like I remember what's that one? Mood. You remember that song?
Yeah.
By Ian Dior. Anyways, when I first heard that song, I went and got these headphones. I went and freaking sat on my couch and I just listened to the song over and over because I'm like, this song is awesome.
Get
and then
out of here.
like a couple days later, like a week later, the song's like it was like old news. But I ruin it for myself.
You need to do that with some books or something.
Well, I do. Well, so that's what happens.
Listen on ×2 speed or something.
Well,
Smoke through them.
Well, so when it comes to like books and stuff, I see a song. The thing that I hate the most about a song, it ends. Like I have like my favorite parts of the song, and once my favorite parts are like over, I'll just rewind it most of the time. And so what happens is I was always like looking for something where I could get kind of that like high for like a lot longer period of time. And
Or something that piques your interest for a longer period
that
of
keeps
time.
my attention.
Yeah, attention.
Yeah. And especially because when I was working in Charleston, I was kind of on my own to just do like my own little thing. And I was always like kind of working by myself. So it was just like, I can't listen to music for 8 hours. I can't. So in the beginning, I was listening to like political podcasts because that was a whole new like avenue for me. Like I remember learning about politics and the way the world
What
actually
age
works.
was that?
18.
That was way younger than me. I think I was 20.
I was 18. Well, I took a
Or 20. Yeah, probably about 20.
I took a government and economics class in high school, a college one. And that really kind of turned me on to like finances, economics, and the way government works, and it was interesting. And then it was kind of this
I grabbed to the economics more,
yeah.
I think.
And for me it was like, well, it was kind of like choose which side you're on type thing. And me, I was smart enough to know like, you know, don't just pick one because that's what your parents pick or something like that. And I wanted to know the answers. That was the thing. Like I would hear these people talking about certain subjects and I wanted to have my own beliefs, but I'm not one to just go out and just be like, well, hey, I heard this one time. I heard that X, Y, and Z is right or wrong.
Or how about this? They.
Yeah.
Well, who's they?
Yeah.
Everyone says that. I fall in the trap of that.
So I remember in high school, like really trying to like research stuff and like, okay, am I conservative? Am I libertarian? I know I'm probably not a liberal, but you know, like just researching all this stuff. And so that's where it kind of all started. But then I'd listen to like political podcasts and stuff like that all the time. And that kind of really, that 18 to like 21 really shaped a lot of things that I believed. But I pretty much took, as far as politics, because I took all my political beliefs and I like stuff that I just assumed that I believed. And I did this with the Bible too. I kind of took all the things I believed and I just set them over to the side.
Right.
Like I'm not going to throw those out the door, but I'm over here and I'm putting all these beliefs over here. Now I'm going to check those beliefs. I'm going to see if I can learn as much information about all the individual beliefs. And at the end of the day, once I've learned all I could, do I still accept those? And so I remember I'd listen to like almost a sermon or two every day. I remember I was going to like New Spring at the time, and they had like um, all their sermons all recorded. And you could go back
Like their
for like,
past
yeah, like for like
Sundays.
5 years.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I listened to all the marriage ones because I wanted to be married. So I listened to all the marriage ones, um, different stuff on dating and all that, just to kind of like see if what I have always believed to be true was true.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I started figuring like little things out, like not about like the world around me, but more about me, like having my own answers. And that was almost like a high. Like,
Well, yeah. Now you're thrown into a scenario where you're, let's just say you're not in high school anymore, where you're around all your friends that you've known for however long. Well, you're gonna whatever crowd you're around. You got the whole. I can't remember what they call it, but you're around all your friends.
mm-hmm.
Well, innately you're gonna act like them, and you're gonna do the things that they do. Maybe vice versa, they're gonna do the things that you do. Well, now that you're in a new setting where you're on your own,
Yeah.
so you have to, the cliche, find yourself,
Mm-hmm.
which probably is some truth to that. Now that you're becoming an adult, you're gonna start seeking these things that you want to know about. And I think I was the same way. I kind of dealt with the same thing. High school was high school, the whole deal with that. And then once I got out of it, you really start to blossom as an individual out from that point on.
Yeah. I think that's really important too.
And I think you helped me with that, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure that process would have been slowed a lot more. Definitely would have been politics.
I remember
I wasn't a political person.
Yeah. And I'm not really that much anymore. I mean, I definitely have my own beliefs, but I really spent time, like, I remember a lot of time. I don't think, well, so then the thing was too, is like, I did it all while I was driving. Cause that was like,
It's free time.
it's like I'm gonna be sitting in traffic because in Charleston you just sit in traffic on the highways.
Yeah, you do.
So I'm like, I'm not getting around this. I'm not getting around, sitting in traffic. So I can at least try to make the time that I'm spending useful to myself and maybe learn something. And even if it's not like a big pivotal, oh, I have this belief now, at least you just learn something new about like a time in history or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And like super long, like hardcore history turned me on to some long term freaking dude. I still remember the exact thing to this day. I can't remember who it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Joe Rogan podcast. But this guy was like saying he used to work like this really shitty job, like in the fields or something. And he's like, yeah, dude, hardcore history got me through a lot of that stuff. And I'm like, what's hardcore history? And he's like talking about this podcast, Hardcore History, and how the episodes are so awesome. I'm like, man, I'll get to check that out.
Dan Carlin?
Yeah, with Dan Carlin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It wasn't Dan Carlin on Joe Rogan. It was some other guy talking about it.
Yeah, I see.
And he said he worked a crappy job and he would listen to the podcast. I help him get him through the day. So I'm like, oh, I'll have to check that out. And I freaking listened to that Blueprint for Armageddon, the World War One. And by the end of that, dude, I had a whole new respect for WW1.
Yeah, yeah. And then you had sent it to me, and I remember I binged that thing.
Oh, dude. I think there's 6 episodes total.
I mean, did you like history in high school?
I've always loved history.
I wouldn't say I hated it, but it probably wasn't my most favorite. But after that, you're like, man, I'm starting to like history a little bit now. You have a new respect for it.
You have a new respect for it, for sure.
Yeah.
And like, I started having, as far as that part of it goes, I started having like a lot more respect for like history that wasn't war.
Yeah.
Or like, World War II. Like, I was always not really a history buff per se, but I was always been kind of like enjoyed history. But it was like, I researched it so much that by the time I was like going through this stage in life, I was like, okay, like World War II is kind of like overdone. There's a million movies, games, books, videos, like I need something different.
Yeah.
And so listening to a lot of that, which the Blueprint for Armageddon series is on World War One, but he goes into detail about a lot of different things.
Do you remember what game we were playing when we were listening?
Dude, That was my second time through.
My first, your second.
Yeah.
Was it Battlefield 1?
Battlefield 1.
Man, dude, I remember the game was great. Game was so good. Then you listen to that, and then the maps, you can start seeing the maps are like, the Argonne Forest and whatnot, and then you're like, now you know the history behind it, the guns and stuff.
All the planes, like like that was because
that was sweet.
It was literally the most perfect timing ever.
Yeah, it was.
It was legit perfect timing
because of that podcast. Yeah, because of that podcast. I don't know if a game will beat Battlefield 1.
I don't think so either.
Those two just went hand in hand.
Well,
so
it's
perfect.
like, so, okay, just for example, just so any of you guys listening have no idea what Dan Carlin Hardcore History is, he does these very, very, very in-depth podcasts on events from history. And they are like, I think, what is it? He reads like 50 books per episode
like that,
or per topic.
Yeah.
And he does a full deep dive. And
it's not surface level. It goes so deep.
Yeah, he does a really, really good job. And he did one series on World War I called Blueprint for Armageddon. It was 6 episodes long, and I don't think one episode is below 3 hours. I know the longest.
They're pretty long.
The longest episode is 6 hours long.
Yeah.
And there's 6 of them, so I think it's like 3.5 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, another 4 hours. Like, they're long. And I had so just to put this in perspective, I had almost an entire work week worth of listening to this podcast and imagining all the stories and because it's all auditory, so you're just using your own imagination to picture it. And he does a very good job describing scenery and all that. And then this game comes out that's supposed to depict all this stuff. And so you're you get to mush your imagination of what you thought it looked like to what the maps actually looked like and what it.
And they killed it too.
They did a great job. Still, I think one of the best games to this day. A lot of people didn't really like it, but I loved it.
I thought it was great.
It was awesome.
The Martini Henry.
Oh, that thing.
I don't know. I think after that game, the the Modern Warfare 1 or Modern Warfare 2019 or whatever, that was pretty good. But
that was good, but there's almost like an emotional connection to it.
Yeah.
We should definitely do a whole podcast on gaming sometime.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of fun.
That.
But yeah, that was.
I've in a sense hung them up a little bit. That's the only.
Yeah, but we could still talk about the past, all the past stuff.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But so I think doing that podcast kind of proved something to me, or listening to Dan Carlin proved something to me, and it was that I can have something hold my attention for a lot longer than 20 minutes. And
how about a 3-minute song?
Yeah. I can listen to something and be into what's attentive to it, or it can hold my attention for a lot longer than I thought I could.
Right.
And I could actually do a pretty good job of retaining the information because I knew I was interested in it.
Well, that was the thing about all the times before is you're so, maybe this is kind of back to the school thing, but you're telling yourself that you hate school or you hate this topic or that topic or this class or that class. Well, once you're on your own and there's that whole, you're just throwing that totally out the window, and then you start listening to all these new, maybe they're not even new. If we learned about World War I in school, but man, it didn't hit the bell
all World War I was in school I remember the only test question it ever was what type of warfare was fought in World War I? It was trench warfare, and that was the only question that was on in any test.
How did World War I start? I remember that one.
Yeah, that was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which the story behind that is legendary. And if you listen to Dan Carlin's podcast, he starts off talking about the story of how World War I started, and the way he paints the picture is I'm gonna sound like a simp for Dan Carlin Hardcore History, but
no, it was that good.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Like I swear, if you just go listen to episode 1, and he finds a way to pull you into it. It's good.
Well, it's like he pulls you in with the information.
Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah. But we so that got me like
Was that entry level? Is that what started it all, or
what?
was it?
That's what really got me like, okay, I can really learn stuff from listening. That's
Yeah.
what made my like the lights click in my head.
I would almost probably say, I don't really remember, but if I had to say, I'd probably say the same thing.
Because then I started looking at books and being like, okay, like I just listened to, 35 hours, a 35-hour long podcast series. Like I could easily, like a book is like 10 hours. Like I could do that in a day.
Mm.
And I could like, my day was so long. I'm like, I could like listen to it a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon, and a little bit at night. And I could do a book in a day.
I was doing a book a day.
Like I hear about some people like reading a book in a day, which I really need to start reading like actual books more.
Yeah, I've fallen off a little bit since.
But the like listening, let's just say listening to a book is 75% as good as reading it, like reading an actual book.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously multitasking when you're listening. So
Mhm.
it's probably you might be missing a little bit of information, but like you said, just say it's 75% of information is better than 0%.
Exactly.
So I'll take that all day.
And especially like I always this is the way that this is what like really gets me kind of going on the whole thing, and why I enjoy it so much is I'm at work, right? I'm at work, I'm working. I'm already making money for being there. So I'm making money for being at work. I don't have to use my brain necessarily because I've done the job long enough that I can kind of go through the motions and I can do it. But now I get to like kill two birds with one stone. So I'm already getting paid, I'm already making money. Now I get to either listen to or learn something that I'm interested in that I otherwise wouldn't have time for. Like at home, I can't really listen to a book or read a book because I'm always doing something, cleaning something, or I'm working out or whatever, which technically I could, but when I'm around people, like if I'm around my wife or something, she's like, "Hey, can you take the baby?" Or, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?"
The circumstances are they're a little bit different.
Yeah.
And at work, I think it is definitely a little bit easier.
So I get to like multitask all day or kill two birds with one stone all day long. And so that's what really got me going. Like that's what really set my brain off, was like, hey, like I can do two things at once and they don't really conflict with each other.
I can get burnt out a little bit doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I did. It was like, I would say it was all old literature, like 1900s, not super old, but like early 1900s. And I'm actually trying to think. I did them all. I actually did them on YouTube, not Audible. I did a couple on Audible. I just can't remember the channel name, but it was like they were kind of shorter books, 2, 3, 4 hours long.
Yeah.
And I would say like for 2 weeks, I would do a book a day. So 14 days. It was like all within that same time. And it was cool because you're listening and stuff. And I'm glad I did it. But by the end of those 2 weeks, I was like, I don't want to do another book. And it became like a chore.
Yeah.
Like, I got to do my book today.
Yeah.
And then I do 1.5 speed and it's just cooking through the thing. Then you kind of miss something and then you're like, so you skip it back or whatever. But I've kind of fallen off of that. But maybe like scale it back once a week or something.
Yeah.
I told myself, okay, maybe it's like a sermon in the morning. I mean, I was trying to maximize my time at work. Sermon in the morning, so you're getting that in. A book early in the morning because I need to like listen to that information, or it's like it's not music, so you're actually gonna try and retain it. It was kind of that whole morning time is my best time to listen to something. Yeah. So it was like a sermon, a book, maybe a little bit of music or something, and then it was like then something that I enjoyed listening to, something like maybe like history wise or something like that.
History, or one of those Reddit videos or something.
Or a Reddit video, yeah, something like that.
And the thing too is like it makes your day go by so much faster.
Oh yeah,
technically I was killing like 3 birds with one stone. I was working, I was making my day go by faster, and I was learning something, or at least at a bare minimum being entertained.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, those the history stuff was big, and then I got into like investing, finances, crypto.
Yeah.
Shit. What else
That was my first interest out of high school.
was what
Investing.
investing? Yeah, yeah.
100%.
And then I got into like court cases. I was listening to podcasts on court cases. I watched the entire Rittenhouse trial at work,
Mm.
and then like there'd be offshoots of that, and then I listened to Tim Pool for news most of the time, but I'd get like he posts 3 videos a day, and I'd listen to all 3 of those videos. I'd get my news for the day from that, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like I literally have like I know in my head like everything is set up so that the videos kind of stop and start, or the podcast stop and start exactly when other ones like are posted or come out. I can pretty much have it down to a very close science now.
Yeah.
And but I almost I can't. It's so bad now. I don't want to say bad, but it's almost to the point now where like I can't be alone with myself without listening to something. Like it's such a habit to like learn something new that I almost like before I can even like get in my car and go to the store, I have to put something going,
Yeah.
because I'm like, it's gonna take me 10 minutes to get to the store. That's 10 minutes I could be learning something. Or
Do you think that shifted your character?
yeah, a lot.
That helped you a ton.
It like
Would you say like a total turnaround, total different individual? If you
yeah, 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Because what started happening was when we were kids, or at least when I was a kid, I really remember like sit down and shut up. Like I remember like going hang out with Colin and Ryan. I remember them specifically telling me, and they probably would feel bad about this now, but I remember them telling me like shut up, like don't talk. At least once they told me that.
What age?
I think I was like 13 or 14, which I would if there's a 13
They were
or,
older though.
yeah, they were like 18, or and I was going to hang out with them and their friends. So
I don't know. They probably thought you were annoying. Good.
no,
Set you in your place a little bit.
yeah, for sure. But
We don't get offended.
yeah,
I'm sure we need. I'm sure we could have both used those words.
yeah, but it was just it was a thing that I already knew too. Like you're hanging out with all the freaking older kids, like shut your mouth.
You're hanging with the
don't-
big dogs.
Don't talk. So I would go to hang out with them all night, and they'd hang out with all their big group of friends, and I wouldn't say anything unless someone asked me a specific question.
Yeah. Then you would ask me to go hang out. I was 12 or 13.
No.
Yeah, no, you really did. I swear. You'd ask me to go out.
Yeah, you'd say no.
I'd say no.
Yeah, you didn't want to.
I didn't even want to attempt.
I was trying to freaking pass the buck, and you were like,
No.
I was like, Outback Steakhouse. Nah.
Yeah,
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Oh shoot.
But
Oh man.
but then like kind of growing up and getting like older, like I was in my early 20s, and I started listening to other people talk, and I'd hear them say things, and I'd be like, that's not true. Or I would hear somebody talk, like people who I respected. I'd hear them talk about things, and I'd be like,
Dude,
yeah, you're not right.
you seen those TikToks? Do you have? I don't even have TikTok. It might be on Instagram, or I don't even know. Somehow I watched these videos. Oh, it's probably YouTube. YouTube
Put
is
your
what
mic up just a little bit.
YouTube is what I still have.
No, like,
I still have YouTube. That's what it is. So it was the reels, and this kid goes up to people, and asks them like, how many stars are on the American flag?
and they don't know.
They have no idea. And I'm like, dude, these people are dumb. How many stripes? Like, it's simple. He has a picture of the USA. He just has it turned upside down. What country is this? And people have no idea. I mean, that one's a little bit like of a trick question or something. You know, all those simple questions, like,
Yeah.
you know, you go, what is it? You travel 60 miles, going 60 miles an hour. How far did you travel?
Yeah,
or whatever it
yeah.
was. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like all those.
How long does it take you to go if you're driving a car at 60 miles an hour, how long does it take you to go 60 miles? And people be like 10 minutes,
Yeah, yeah.
2.5 hours. It's like, dude, and then the person would be like 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
How far do you go in 1 hour? Like some really dumb question
Yeah.
like that.
And dude, I mean, these people are just off their rocker.
But yeah,
You feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Almost. You're like these people are idiots. I mean, it was bad.
But I'd run into these people, or I'd run into these conversations, and like conversations where most of the time I would like just keep my mouth shut.
I didn't.
Yeah, because that's not you. But
No.
for me, I'm that person, or I was that person. And then I'd kind of like, I'm like, hey, I actually know something about that because I've learned it. Here's what I've learned. And I would do my best not to present it in like a, hey, you're wrong, I'm right way.
Yeah.
I'd try to just be like, hey, I learned this from here. This is what I learned type thing. And try to just, I would say like put into the conversation, like contribute something to the conversation
Right.
of, people who I always thought were wiser than me or older than me or whatever.
I think to just be a well-rounded individual.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
That's that's kind of always been my goal, is to at least know a little bit about everything type thing.
Yeah.
Like a jack of all trades type thing, but with as far as information goes. But even like, it's not just like a conversation thing either. Like as far as like self-education and all that stuff, because you did investing and all that, and you've learned a lot through that. You've read now how many books on money and investing, and
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean you weren't.
I mean, in the last year, I've I don't know, 20 bucks or something. No. It was the end of last year is what it was. So in like a 6 or 7 month span of like, I don't like 20 or 30 books or something like that.
20 or 30 books, and you really didn't have to waste any time.
No, none.
It was all, you pretty much got paid to read 30 books.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. I mean, it was like you had said, stuff on investing. I wish I remembered that channel because I'd actually go and try and find some of those titles of those books because they're pretty cool.
And then the other thing too that's really cool,
I mean, and there was like different stuff too.
is what's really weird is I'll like talk to people and I'll be like, hey, like, have you ever heard of this? And like I'll tell them something that I've learned from a book or from a podcast or something that I've learned and then tried or whatever, or implemented into my life. And I'll tell somebody,
I'll
tell somebody about it, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, hey, here's the book, go read it. And then nobody wants to read the freaking book.
No one wants to read it. No.
So I'm like, whatever, I'll be the middleman.
Well, actually, let's go here. I remember you wanted me to read David Goggins' book. I wasn't going to read that thing. I kind of wanted to, but I'm not going to go home at night and read a book. So I think you just we were working together at the time. You just slap it on.
I'd just start playing it in the morning.
Yeah.
Because you'd always want to listen to the damn radio.
No.
And I hated the radio.
Yeah. So I was on the way home, I thought. Or was it both?
It was both. And then you finally got to the point like, hey, like, turn that book back on.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? Sometimes you need a little.
I freaking swindled my way in.
You did. I agree.
But it was good enough to where I knew the book was David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. It was such a good book that I knew that you could probably take something from it and learn from it.
Yeah.
Or you'd at least be interested in it if you like. It's like one of those things like someone's like, hey, you should watch this. This literally just happened to me. I don't watch TV, right? And a couple days ago, I was at Ryan's house, my Uncle Ryan's house, and him and Dexter were watching this TV show called Alone. And you get like this 10 people that get dropped off out in the wilderness, and they get to take like 10 survival items with them. Like an axe, a saw, bow.
They pick their own.
Yeah.
Their own 10 items, or all the teams get the same 10
No,
items?
it's just 10 single people.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so they get dropped off way out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just the last one standing gets $500 grand.
Do you think you'd win?
I don't know. Like some of the people, like every person is like a.
They're not. Oh, they're like a survivalist type-esque individual.
Yeah, like expert.
Okay.
And like, dude, like their knowledge is like damn good. They're like making. One dude made like a freaking wooden pipe, and their hunting and fishing skills are all pretty good. They made like shelters. They're all like pretty good.
Is it all men?
No, I think there's like 3 or 4 women, but like every person is like pretty dang good at wildlife survival and all that.
Yeah.
And it's just like to see who can be out there the longest and last the longest. I think, anyways, Ryan at Ryan's house, him and Dexter were watching it,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, oh, what's the name of that show? So they told me, and I came home. I actually watched it. I think me and Mackenzie just finished the season in one weekend.
How many episodes?
11. So 11 hours. I fast forwarded it through 4 of the episodes because it got kind of monotonous. It'd be like the whole intro. It'd do like a full intro, like 2 or 3 minutes long. That'd give like a recap. So I just fast forward through all that, and like the facts. They come up with the facts
Yeah.
on the bottom of the screen. I'd fast forward it until I saw those facts, and I'd hit play for like 30 seconds. I'd just keep going because it was like kind of late one night.
I think the last show, I mean, this was years ago. The last show that I actually enjoyed watching, like really, really liked it. There's been other shows that I thought were decent or whatever. Remember The Colony? You remember that?
Yeah, dude,
It was like it was like a simulation of like a world fallout
yeah,
type thing. That was good. I liked
that was really cool.
I mean, it was kind of like it
Some of
got
the
like
stuff
kind
was
of
kind of lame.
yeah, it got like kind of dumb sometimes, but the idea of the show was cool. They
Yeah.
should do that same idea and then slap those 10
That
survival
would be pretty
experts in
good.
there instead of some like chumps from
Yeah,
random actors. I'm pretty sure it was all staged anyways, but
yeah, but they win like supposedly they win 500 grand at the end. But
whoa, how many seasons?
I think there's 8.
Oh,
Season 8 is on Netflix.
I'm pretty sure I've heard about it. I didn't know there was like that many though.
Yeah, me neither. But I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So
Meat Eater was good too. I like
yeah,
that.
I like Meat Eater a lot. But like I came home and actually watched it. But it was because like I had already watched it with or somebody had it on.
Yeah. I
type
mean, I don't
thing.
know. The last time I probably sat down and actually watched like a full season of something, probably.
The Office.
I mean, dude, it was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years
No,
ago.
I mean I've watched like
I've done things like here and there.
The Mandalorian. I watched that.
Yeah, but I still don't know if I even finished that. There's something about me. I cannot finish a TV
You
show.
can't finish a TV show for your freaking life.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's it. That's it. That's the only one I've ever finished.
I used to watch it every night to go to bed.
No,
That was good. But so then, another one of the things we kind of didn't talk about really too was the whole diet and exercise, diet and workout. Like I've listened to
Yeah.
freaking hours of that.
Yeah, I jumped. That was like I jumped in headfirst to the exercising game.
Yeah, and that was like a lot of, and that's so everything we've been kind of talking about so far is a lot of just like stuff at work, but for me then it started bleeding over. Like, and okay, so we just talked about TV shows and all that. The reason why I don't watch TV is because I watch freaking YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would I watch something fake when I can watch something real and potentially get something from it?
Yeah.
Car stuff. I remember it's like a cliche thing now. It's like, oh, hey, I got to go fix my brakes. Oh, have you ever done brakes before? No, I'll watch a YouTube video.
Yeah. Well,
Like the amount of crap
kind of a tool.
yeah. And like the amount of stuff that I was able to just figure out on my own. I mean, like live streaming, computer. I built my computer because of YouTube.
You built mine.
I built yours just from watching stuff and like figuring it out. And to me, that's like valuable. Like learning something is valuable. And now, like, it kind of really, I feel like I could almost learn anything. And maybe not like,
I probably your spectrum is so much more wide or it's way bigger than what it ever would have been.
yeah.
It's like now you have such a broad spectrum of stuff. It's like everything interests you
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. And by this point, it's literally, like the diet and exercise stuff is to the point where it's like, yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to listen to a ketogenic, diet explanation for the 9 millionth time. Like, I'm like, been there, done that. If something new comes out, I'll listen to it. Or some new theory or something, I'll kind of listen to it. But I'm like, I know about that.
I think like the kind of the surface level things, maybe a little bit deeper than the surface level stuff. I kind of have like I could go into a gym and do a workout and figure everything out that I want to do or something like that. Like I'm not going in blind at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But like the stuff about like the body, and I'm trying to think like kind of like the doctor level stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I would like to know more about that.
Yeah.
And I kind of been, I wouldn't really say starting, but because people are always coming over to work out, and like I've hurt my hip and I've hurt my shoulder, and so I've done a lot of stuff looking into all that and like different movements to fix it or make it feel better, different stretches. When you look at stuff like that, you start learning a little bit more of the proper terminology. Plus, Mackenzie is a nurse, so she knows all the proper terminology for everything.
Had her fair share of anatomy.
So that's something that I wish I knew more about. But it's not like super interesting to me.
What's that?
Like knowing the proper terminology. Like it's not something that I could sit there and
I like that.
I couldn't binge it.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
I'd almost like force myself to learn it.
That's why I like those old books. The literature was way different.
Yeah.
It just the dumbing down of America is in effect, I guess, or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's why I like it. It's just like the vocabulary is really neat and stuff like that.
Okay, well let me do this. What do you think is probably the most valuable thing that you've taught yourself so far?
I mean, let's just say you could make the argument that diet and exercise, because now that the longevity of your lifespan is going to be a little bit longer, something like that. I mean, you could go there. I mean, you got the spiritual stuff. I mean, that's kind of near and dear to me.
Mm-hmm.
I probably couldn't pick the biggest thing. I think the one that interests me the most, economics.
Yeah.
The one that would benefit me the most, diet, health, exercise, that stuff.
I made a lot of money from listening to YouTube videos. if you count the whole like stock stuff and crypto and all that, I mean, right now I have a miner. That's all.
You capitalize a lot better than me. I know that.
Well, got lucky, got blessed, whatever you want to call it. But made a decent amount of money. Bought my miner. Now that's all rolling, and
it's cooking right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going. Actually, you can. If you guys want to look at it, right here.
Oh, the analytics. What do you call that? Is that the right term?
Yeah, something like that. But it's ripping. Making about $30 a day right now.
Will it get better?
Yeah,
the market's down.
The entire market's down. But
I've lost $18, but if I haven't sold, have I lost?
No.
Yeah. So I'm taking that approach.
No YouTube, no self-education, no miner, no investing in crypto. None of that.
Mm-hmm. What about like, what did you do about buying your house? I remember you said there was a bunch of, it's a totally new thing that you're attempting. Something that you've never kind of thought you'd ever get to. Did you use
a little bit, but I talked to Dad more.
Yeah.
Like that, he really helped me out a lot with it.
So then it's like sometimes, there might be some type of learning that you want to do within yourself, or maybe you need to look on some type of outward.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the whole thing too, is self-education doesn't have to just be the internet. But the whole thing with like self-education, teaching myself stuff, is it made me ask questions too. Like I'd have these questions, and so many times I feel like when I was younger, I'd have these questions and they'd just stay questions.
Yeah, what about that?
What do you mean?
In your notes on your phone or something. Every time you have a question.
I write it down.
You do that already? I don't. I don't do that. I've done it before.
So I'd have these. I wish I still had my old phone because I had way more. But I had I'd start making all these note pages of like, I had like things to look up.
I mean, yeah, I do have that.
And then I had like words to look up, and then I'd have I worked with Dad, so I'd have like things to ask Dad.
Yeah.
It's like if the time was kind of right, or the mood was right, or whatever.
Oh, I remember you telling me that now.
I'd like write all these questions down, like, hey, what was high school like, or what was mom like when you first met? You know, just random stuff that I wanted to know. And I just write them all down. So questions are like was one of the biggest things because I started learning that I could actually potentially find the answer to some of these questions.
I really that's what I like about it, is because rather than asking someone else, I like to find it on my own terms and figure it out, whatever it may be, whatever type of question.
I
Or
like to
something.
figure out what I believe, but then also compare and contrast with somebody else.
Yeah.
Like you, so I'd always so one of the things I always do is I'll hear somebody say something like make like a like a statement,
Yeah.
and then I'll go and do a bunch of research on it. Maybe not a bunch of research, but I'll watch a YouTube video. I'll go and read something on it or whatever, and then I'll like if that topic comes back up, like I kind of know what that person believes, and now I know what I think about it, and I'll ask them about it, like, hey, how did you come to that conclusion, or how did you figure that out? And then they'll tell me whatever they learned or whatever they know, and maybe it changed my mind, maybe it doesn't, stuff like that. I think it's especially with I really like Bible stuff, Bible history, like all that type, because that gets real dicey, and everyone has their own like particular beliefs.
Is that what it's called? Or
Semantics.
semantics? Yeah.
Yeah, people have like, their own beliefs, and usually they're pretty strong beliefs, and I'm one to get people a little bit riled up, but to me it's fun. To other people, it's probably annoying. But to ask just like pointed questions because I know what their answer is going to be, and I wouldn't
It's
say,
like it's like the more you know, the more ammo you have equipped on your belt.
yeah, and I like to just
Rather than going in blind, it's like you have everything you need right then and there,
mm-hmm.
or at least some things that you'll need. Or
Yeah, and I just like talking to people too. But I don't know. I always would being younger. Like I always felt stupid, having no clue what people were talking about or like anything like that. So now that you kind of have like some skin in the game, you have a belief to defend or whatever, and then also like
well, you can stand on precedent a lot more
mm-hmm.
rather than being wavered by what someone else says.
Yeah, and as far as like spiritual stuff and like being a Christian and all that, there's a verse in the Bible, and I'm gonna butcher it probably, but it's like give a reason for the hope that is within you, and that's always like moved me. Like, yeah, like somebody should be able to come and ask me why I believe the things that I believe, and I should be able to give them an answer.
Yeah,
And maybe that answer isn't. I think because like Christianity, like faith is faith. You're never gonna have 110%. Here's the answer, but I don't think that you just hear something and believe it either. So that verse really like put a lot of things in motion for me. Like give a reason for the hope that is within you. Okay, yeah, why do I have hope? And if somebody ever comes in, that's where I think a lot of it did start too, because I started thinking to myself back when I lived in Charleston and when kind of all this stuff started, it'd be like, I'd always have people come and ask me for money because Charleston's kind of like a bigger city-ish thing, and I'd always want to just be ready for somebody ever asked me why I gave them money, or why did you do this or whatever, and just being able to give them an answer. So then I'm like, well, I kind of need to know why I believe what I believe. So got into all that stuff, all that type of stuff, and then it just became fun. Everything just became fun, and like now it's like just as like as far as books go, right? I remember in high school, I think, or throughout school, the only book I ever read was like this Civil War drummer boy book. I think it was one book.
Do you have a favorite book?
Do I have a favorite book? Yeah, 12 Rules for Life. It's my favorite book.
I think mine's Richest Man in Babylon.
Really?
I think I like that one.
My professor just talked about that.
Did he really?
Yeah. He's like, if someone wants to read it, because we're talking about finances and all that stuff, he's like, if someone wants a really good book, read The Richest Man in Babylon. It's really good.
I mean, I'm pretty sure those are clay tablets that were found in Babylon. So they use those teachings.
Yeah,
or the rules or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm actually probably should reread it because I don't quite. I actually have two. I've read it twice, and one of them's really short. There is a word for that, I think. Author's edition, maybe.
Something.
Does that sound right?
Maybe.
One of them's like short, and one of them's long. So
I thought we got like 3 of them.
no. I listened to one online. I read the physical one that I had, which was the short one. Then I listened to one online. That one because it was like 4 or 5 hours long. I was like, man, I read that book in like 30 minutes. How the heck is it so long?
Yeah, that was really good.
That's
But I went from like elementary school to 20 years old, never reading one book. And some people would be like, "How'd you only read one book through school? Didn't you ever go to the library?" Yeah, we'd rent a book, and then when we had reading time, I'd just watch somebody else, and I'd like hold the book, and I'd wait until I'd watch other people and be like, "Okay, like 3 or 4 people turned a page. That's probably how long it takes to read a page," and I'd flip.
I don't remember.
I just never read anything.
I think I did. Maybe it was Andrew Clements. I got into his books a little bit. If it was him, guess what those books were on?
What?
I think it was like finance stuff or whatever. Like it was about money, selling a pen. One of them was like selling a pen. Remember one? I can't remember the name of it. One kid was like young or something. He was like mowing lawns or something and collecting his money, or then his brothers or siblings started having him do their chores, so he was getting half of their allowance or something. I don't know. I can't remember. So I knew I liked. I guess way back when I kind of liked numbers, and you kind of forgot it. I forgot about it all this time, and then out of high school, it really reignited. That fire got reignited.
The whole see, I never read because I just thought I sucked at reading. I thought I was stupid. And then once I started listening to books, I was like, no, like I can actually do this. But for me, never reading, I kind of do suck at reading and spelling, like vocabulary. But now it's like a whole thing. Like, oh, cool, this is a whole nother thing I can try and learn and teach myself and be better at. And at the end of the day, it's just like being the best person that I can possibly be.
Yeah, it's not like you're competing with somebody else.
Yeah. And now I have like my little bookshelf in the living room and chair, and
I do like that.
every once in a while.
It's a nice little corner.
Yeah, I just grab a book and read a few pages and put it back or whatever. But I really enjoy that. Like, to me, I get such a high from like learning something that I didn't know and then going out and figuring out and doing it. I don't know why.
I mean, that has to be probably one of your favorite things to do right there.
Yeah. And
we've talked about this a lot,
Yeah.
especially you.
like, I almost get pissed off if I don't, like, if I go through like a couple days or a couple weeks or something and don't really learn anything new. Like,
it's like you're taking a step back or something.
Yeah.
Steps back.
that's kind of how it goes with anything too. It's like if you've never read a book or you've never listened to a podcast, the first one you listen to, you're gonna be like, holy crap, like shit. You go and listen to that Dan Carlin podcast, that whatever history event you want to listen to, you listen to that, and all the information that's packed in, you're gonna be like, damn, I want this every day.
Yeah, see that. It was so. I remember when I was like doing the books and all that. That it was either like a 2. I think the books were 2 weeks, but everything else was like a month long. I mean, it was hitting hard. My brain was like mentally, I was tired, and it's kind of weird how that worked. I mean, you would never think that, but like just from so much information coming in, you actually like. I remember being like more tired coming home from work, and you're just kind of like mentally done, and then it's like that. After all of that work, now you should be able to reward yourself and watch some TV or something. It's like because you put in the effort, you put in that work beforehand or something.
The other thing that really, really pushed me was, I heard this quote was from Will Smith, but I don't think I've been able to find it since I heard it. But it was like, if you learn a piece of information and one day that piece of information saved your life, it's the most valuable piece of information you could have ever have learned.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
And the thing is, you don't know what piece of information is going to save your life.
Yeah, so it's an ongoing thing.
So it's an ongoing, like, you know,
Adventure.
what's the saying for like the being prepared? It's better to need it, not have it, than
Yeah.
have it, not need it type thing. Well, what if a piece of information is the thing that it's better to have and not need?
Well, yeah, exactly. So, what do you think is something that you're lacking in right now?
Lacking in?
Mm-hmm. Something that
Oh, geez, that's a good question.
I mean, I know. I think I could probably answer the question for you.
What?
You've been talking about those classes,
What classes?
like the paramedic classes,
Oh,
or
yeah.
even like a shooting class, a course, some type of course,
Yeah,
a hands-on course.
yeah,
You've been talking about that a lot.
yeah. A lot of my
You want to do something for the men's group.
yeah. I
Yes.
want to. So I want to do like more certificate type stuff.
Yeah.
Like actually go out and do things. But with just my school and everything, I've been so busy. I kind of really don't have time to.
Mm.
But eventually, that's why, like, 10 years ago, if someone like, okay, 10 years ago, if someone was to be like, hey, would you ever want to go be an EMT? I'd be like, heck no, I don't want to go be no freaking EMT. If someone was to ask me today, like, hey, would you ever want to go be an EMT? What I would probably say is, no, I don't think I'd want to do that as a job, but I would love to know all that information.
Yeah.
I'd love to have some experience in that.
It'd be nice if you could almost, like, I guess a volunteer you kind of could, but what if you could like say like learn that, get your, I don't know how they do it, if it's a certification or what, but do something along the lines of that, and then like once a month be like, hey, schedule me in, I want to go ride along, or
That'd be sweet if you're like rich.
yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Like, I mean, I was thinking like a Saturday, like a half day Saturday or something. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, as long as you could probably pass all your courses, maybe they would let you. I don't know.
I mean, you could do like don't like lifeguards do something like that? Don't they have to take like some type of basic course? So
Yeah.
that must be out there.
Well, I mean, as far as like medical stuff, you can go and take like weekend courses and stuff and get certificates and all that. That's what I want to do. Just take some weekend classes just
Yeah.
in case, you ever come upon an emergency. But another thing too, I remember Bonds in high school, like the career
I
center.
never went.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to Bonds, but I went to the one from the other high school that I went to.
Yeah.
And I did freaking construction, which is what I already knew
it's
how to
funny.
do it all.
I actually passed by that place.
All the time.
They're building a house.
They building the house out there now.
Yeah, they got it framed. They got that. What's that? Not the siding stuff, but it's not the hard. It's not the final siding's not on. What's it called? Zip system, or what is it?
Zip system.
Is that what it's called?
It's just plywood sheeting.
Yeah. That's on. They got it all.
But I would have loved to go and do welding. I would have never have picked welding in high school because it was not cool to go and do something new for me.
I'd pick welding because don't you like make pretty good money, or can or something?
See, I could care less about making the freaking money.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Just for that one thing, I think they do pretty good, so that'd be kind of neat to know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, like, that's another thing for me. Like, I'm probably never ever going to be a welder. I still want to know how to weld. I can't help myself now. Like, I went to my father-in-law's house. He's like, yeah, if you ever want to learn how to weld, I have 3 welders. I had a Saturday that was free, and I went over there. I'm like, hey, teach me how to weld.
I mean, surely you're not learning how to weld in one day.
No, but
Just like the absolute bare basics you were kind of getting in.
Yeah. I mean, I was welding and grinding, and I welded a couple pieces of metal together. So I at least did a little bit. But it's not just like, for me, it's not just books. And it's like, that's the easy shit.
Yeah.
For me now, because I can do it when I'm not doing anything. But like working out, exercising, business. I listen to a lot of business stuff. I'm watching this one lady. She talks a lot about boring businesses. I'd love to start that. But just literally just any information. I've been saying this for a long time. I want to get a piano, like a really shitty like keyboard. I just want to start practicing like 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and just learn how to play like freaking Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. If that's all I ever learn how to freaking play, I can play it for Piper when she's going to sleep or something. but just to have
Or
that little bit.
you could save that little bit, put it into something way more meaningful, and then where was I going with this? Instead of wasting that time, just do a YouTube video of doing. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
But I've always loved music too. That's
yeah,
the
you
other
were.
thing.
You did the whole percussion, or
I did
right.
band. I did guitar lessons in school and out of school for years. Can't remember a lick anymore, but I'd love to have.
yeah.
I'd love to have. I'd love to go.
If you went back, I bet you'd pick up some things.
Yeah, I'd love to go back and buy another guitar and play that. Like
I have been thinking that a little bit. Yeah, it'd be kind of neat. Like if you could just kind of strum, relax and strum a little bit.
Learn how to play a few songs around the campfire type thing.
Yeah.
But like, I've always said this, and I actually stole this from Joe Rogan. But he's like, if I had 10 lifetimes, I could fill them all up with stuff that I'd love to do. And I'm the same way. Like,
do you think him having money he's able to say that though? Like he's I mean, didn't he say that he's pretty wealthy?
oh, he is wealthy.
Yeah. So then in this one lifetime, he can pretty much do whatever the heck he wants.
Yeah, no.
What does that mean for ordinary people like you or I?
What he's saying is,
I know he's saying
there's so many things that interest him. He would love to go out and learn and do. Because he says like, I don't know how people are bored.
No, I know, but when it comes to maybe one of the listeners or you and I, we're now hindered monetarily. He's not.
Yeah, but I think.
Or well, if there is something that you truly want to do, is it kind of like you'll find a way to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just said, I want to learn how to play the keyboard. That I can go on. Shit, I can go to Facebook Marketplace right now and I can find a keyboard for under $100. I guarantee you.
You might even be able to find a free one.
You can probably find a freaking free one. Like I think I know somebody who has one who bought one years and years and years ago and has never used it once.
I think I know who it is.
Who? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably just take it. But like
temporarily lend it to you.
Yeah. Like what thing is, as far as teaching yourself or learning it or a new skill, what's something that you'd be hindered as far as money goes? I mean, because
flying an airplane.
Okay, that's a pretty good one.
Isn't that pretty expensive?
You could do a simulator.
Do they do those now? Can you do simulations?
Yeah, you could get it for your computer. That's a cheap way. I mean, that's like your bare minimum basic. You might pay.
So what you're saying is there's always steps.
You could scratch the itch.
Yeah.
At any price point, just about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could read books. You could do simulators. I'm sure. I am sure that if you went and hung around the freaking airport where they teach the classes, you could probably do a ride along. And maybe you're not the one getting the freaking lesson, but you could at least go there and learn, go there and learn something. And then eventually, and here's the other thing too, we'll talk about this more eventually, but pick whatever thing you want or whatever time period you want. If you give it long enough and you want it bad enough, you can save the money for it.
Yeah.
Like look at that. Remember that one video about the dude who built the Lamborghini out of like freaking scrap metal or something?
No.
You never saw that?
Or
he built like a freaking Lamborghini in his garage. It took him like 15 years, but it's like he always wanted this Lamborghini, never had enough money.
Was it a Diablo?
I can't remember exactly what it was, but he like built it out of like scrap wood and metal and piece by piece. And it wasn't even like a real Lamborghini or anything. It was just, it looked pretty close to one. But if you want it bad enough, you can find a way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's obviously very true.
But I mean, is that your only one flying?
I don't know. No, I mean, you kind of answered the question. There's nothing that money can't buy. Or
no. There's nothing that money could really hinder you from as far as learning. Yeah. As far as like educating yourself. Now you might hit a 110%, you'll definitely hit a place that you can't go any further. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like you'll hit these, like, I would say you'd hit these spots. You know, you hit these things like
barriers.
Barriers, or you'll plateau or whatever because you don't have enough money to get the next thing to educate yourself on or whatever. But I mean, you can do pretty freaking good by just reading, listening, and then there's a way to freaking do anything. I mean, look at all the apps for like learning a new language. You can just get an app and listen to it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Like, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I actually had an app, but I did it for like a couple days and then.
What, Espanol?
No, it wasn't that. It was something else. Well, no, it was. Yeah, it was. It started a second language. I don't know. I don't remember what the second language was. The first one was Spanish.
I want to do Latin. I don't know why. I could have taken Latin in high school, and I was like, yeah, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. But then once I learned that Latin is like, it's like a massive language.
Yeah, everything is like a derivative from Latin or
Yeah.
something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
Isn't that case or?
A lot of the like prefixes and suffixes and all that type of stuff. Like the English language has a lot of like Latin pieces in it that will like tell you the meanings to certain words. And that's why I'd like to know it. But let's see, what are some other things that I'd like to do? I've done a lot of them.
You've done a lot. You've satisfied a lot of your itches, I think.
Crypto mining, live streaming, building computers, working on cars,
Working out.
What else? Sports. Like just stuff that I've kind of taught myself or learned myself. Not really woodworking because I did that at work, but just like there's been a lot.
Yeah, well, I actually would like to dive into some woodworking.
Woodworking,
furniture, or like, I mean, I was just saw it today somewhere. People are selling like cutting boards for like, I mean, these were nicer ones, obviously. It was like $400 for a cutting
$400
cutting board, and they obviously make them. I think they make like 10 at a time or something.
Shoot, like, you just start making those.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It'd be fun because I like that. I do like. It's kind of what we both started on was carpentry, so it's in our roots. But I saw that and I was like, it'd be something I'd want to do. Plus, I think you could monetize that a little bit.
I'll make them. You can sell them.
No, what if I want to make them? You provide the space.
I don't want to do the freaking selling. I don't really like the selling part.
I think it's something I'd be good at.
Yeah, it's something you'd be good at.
It's hard. You gotta. I don't know. Being like a businessman is definitely
a skill.
Mm-hmm. I think. Well, a successful person at that.
What's so? Well, I guess you kind of just mentioned it, but I was going to ask you, like, what's your next big like thing that you wish you could dive into? Wish, want, do more of, learn about, whatever.
Let me think here. I don't know. I mean, I think I have a bunch of little things like, starting something that I can call my own, which would definitely kind of be this, I think. But
okay, I was gonna at least be like, I hope you at least say this.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, there's other, like the woodworking thing. I've always kind of wanted to do that. That was always like in the back of my mind, or it comes back.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that'd be cool, and you kind of forget about it, and then it comes back. So it's like, well, if it's coming back, does that, is that a true interest of mine? I mean, that would be neat. Or maybe like something mechanical. That'd be kind of neat. I mean, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. What about you?
Motors and electronics, like working on them, like building different stuff. Like I want to build a Tesla coil really bad. I just don't have the time to. I want to build like some little. I want to get a Raspberry Pi and do something with it. You know what a Raspberry Pi is? You know what a Raspberry Pi is?
What is that?
It's a little computer. Here, I'll pull up a picture of one. It's a little computer that you can you build. Right, Raspberry Pi. And people do all sorts of stuff with them. I'll do
okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying now.
It's just like these little computers, and you buy them.
They're basic electronics, and you program them to whatever you want them
Yeah,
to
like
be.
I think some people use them for like YouTube subscriber counters and like little like simple tasks. And you can hook like old like phone screens to them. Some people,
Do people use them for like school projects?
yeah, a lot of people use them for school projects. One guy uses them to like do something with his miners, like track all the mining rates or something like that. Or
I'd imagine it'd be some type of engineer.
yeah, but they're really interesting. You can hook like little screens up to them.
So it's just like a motherboard or circuit board?
Yeah, it's just like a circuit board, or like it's just like a motherboard.
Yeah, like a basic.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I see.
and so I'd like to like get some and just like program them to do different stuff. But then the thing is like I need to like find the need for it first. Like, oh hey, what do I want to use this for?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see uses real quick. 25 awesome uses for Raspberry Pi. And you can use it as like a legit PC. Print. Add AirPrint support. Media center. Retro gaming machine. Minecraft game server. You can control robots with them.
There you go.
Stop motion camera. Radio. Web server. Twitter bot.
That'd be neat.
That'd be pretty cool. Another thing too is programming. I'd like to get into programming.
I was watching some videos of that. It'd be kind of interesting.
I think it's like you can do like a lot of like monitoring certain things, like making just different systems and stuff like that. But that's something else that I'd like to get into. Coaching, teaching people like as far as like exercise and diet, life coaching and stuff like that. It's kind of another thing, but that's kind of like taking something that I already do kind of to like the next level type thing.
Yeah.
Because I already train 2 or 3 people at my house weekly-ish. So getting a little bit more in depth with that. I do need more money. I'm kind of at like a money barrier point for that. To where if like I really wanted to start coaching people as far as like exercise, I'd want to go get some sort of certificate in training. So I at least have like a little bit of credentials, not just like, hey, I tried this, it worked for me type thing.
Yeah.
And then potentially like getting paid for doing it too. Which right now I just do it for fun. Like I actually trained Chloe on Saturday.
Did you?
Yeah. I gave her, she's like, my knees hurt. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll do this workout. She's like, I want to have abs. And it's
what everyone says at the start.
Yeah, so we did like this little workout, and I kind of like walked her through it and gave her a few different movements to do and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Do some compound movements.
We did. I had her do overhead presses with a kettlebell.
Yeah, squats, deadlifts,
and then
will kind of work your core a little bit.
We did knees over toes guy too. So I had her put my plate carrier on, and we went out on the road, and she said her knees were a bit hurting, so I had her walk backwards with a plate carrier on. And we did that for like 2 or 3 times, and then I had her like hold on to one of those little bands,
yeah.
And I like gave her resistance, so she had to pull.
Yeah,
and we did that, so that was pretty cool.
Word. Well, I think we kind of touched up a little bit of everything, hey?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I like that.
So, real quick, everyone watching or who does watch, we'd really love it if you guys would subscribe, like the video. And put comments below because I actually kind of like replying to those. A lot of people say don't read comments, but I actually like them.
Yeah.
I try to read them at least on a weekly basis.
Some ideas.
And then I don't know how soon, but pretty soon I'm probably going to start opening up our Discord server to everybody. So if anybody wants to join it, I'm going to start opening it up to other people. And inside our Discord server, we have a ton of stuff in there. And it's mostly I use it for our men's group, but we have a lot of stuff. We have kind of like the stuff we do with our men's group and all of our topics and a general discussion and stories and stuff like that. We have this podcast, we have like a health and fitness section, we have a crypto section, motivational section, a news section, we have a preppers section, and a whole bunch of stuff in there. So pretty soon I'm going to start opening that up to other people. And if you guys want to join it, you can. It'd be pretty sweet. But is that everything? You have anything else to add?
No, that was good. I like that.
All right. Well, we hope you guys have a great day. And if you do try to learn something new, let